You guys, why brainstorming bookkeeping firm name, especially ideas, is a waste of time? And what is the best way to get accounting clients? So, this is just stuff I've learned from the last, I guess, started back 2015. So it's getting close to about 11 years in business for bookkeeping and CFO services. A lot of these videos on this channel are things that I wish that I had either been aware of or wish that I had known back when I first got started, so that you, the viewer, can maybe avoid making those mistakes and reach six figures in your business a lot faster than what I did. So also, if you ever want some help doing this, like maybe you're tired of watching videos or you're tired of doing this stuff on your own, click the link inside the description below the video to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Let's jump into this thing. So, this video is inspired by one of the mentorship students. She's a new mentee that joined the program about a month ago. And sometimes, like when people start the program, they have some preconceived notions that they've either heard someplace or just different things that they feel is true about business. And then you have to kind of let them you either do, hey, this is really what the reality is, or you kind of let them kind of go and try certain things, right? In this case, I let the person try this thing that she had wanted to do, which I did not agree with. So she joined the program. She was fighting me tooth and nail. She was like saying, hey, I need to have a website, right? In order for your business to be real, like it has to have a name, it has to have website, has to have all this. I'm like, that's not true. This is the reason why. Take it or leave it, and we'll meet back up next week. So she's okay. I want to figure out a name. Okay, so she thought of a name that took her like 3 or 4 days to do. Hey, cool. Then we did another call. So okay, cool. So you have your name now, but let's move forward. Let's start going towards client. Let's start moving. Let's start getting some revenue. Oh, I actually want to go on the file LLC instead. I was like, okay, so we should usually wait until we get clients because there's no really reason to have an LLC at this moment in time. Let's get the clients, let's get the payments, let's go. She's, oh no, but I really want to get the LLC. All right, cool, whatever, dude. You want to do that? Cool. Now, then the next question is, okay, so how do I file an LLC? Okay, so we walk through how to do it. She goes, that's a lot of work. Can I just hire someone to do this for me? And I was like, you could, but it's not really going to make that much sense. It's going to be 200 to $800 depending on what you're trying to do. It's just not really worth it at this moment in time. Get your client to pay for that. And then she goes, okay, cool. So I talked to her a week later. Yeah. And when she came on the call, she was like excited. I finally got my business name. I got the LLC. I'm so excited. And we were like, okay, cool. Now you feel official. Now there's nothing really stopping you from getting this stuff moving. No problem. So we talked about some action plans. Then I see her about a couple days later because we like to do like 1 to 2 calls a week, just depending on what someone's schedule looks like and what their needs are at the current moment. So she comes on a call and she's basically crying. I'm like, why are you crying? I was like, I thought we just had this thing successful. Something happened in her personal life. She goes, oh, my personal life was good, but someone has my business name. I was like, what do you mean? So yeah, I was making a LinkedIn profile and I saw someone has the exact same business name as me. And then she was like, I'm so mad because, okay, that's not entirely unheard of. Some of business names, like people like they spend time making a creative thing, but in a lot of cases, a lot of bookkeepers think very similarly. It's actually very interesting to see. Like a lot of people think like they're very unique, but in a lot of cases, most people are not really that unique. And so if you have a business name, probably someone else has already thought of that business name. And she goes, when I paid the person to make the LLC, she said she was going to research this just to make sure no one has the name. I was like, oh, so you paid someone to do LLC. I thought we talked about not doing that. It was just a lot of work. I didn't want to do that, so I just hired this person. And one would think that you would like search the entire United States. I guess you just searched in my state, right? So I could get the LLC. I was like, okay. So that it was just like this big thing. I'm just like, dude, this is just this. I was like, so now do you see how this has been a waste of time? So you spent a week making a business name. You spent a week and a half trying to LLC finally comes back, and now you're upset because someone has the same name. So now you want to go back to the drawing board. Like, let's just cut this out. Are you ready to start like listening and start growing the business? She goes, yeah. So now we're attacking, right? So now we're growing. So this was actually just, I think, like last Wednesday that we had this. So now recovery. So now we're gonna start doing some of the stuff that we're gonna talk about inside this video. And thankfully for her, she only spent 3 weeks like trying to do like this kind of like side tangent, side quest stuff. So let's go and jump into this thing. Okay, so how to actually go and get clients. So what to focus on. Now this video is assuming like we're gonna say I'm gonna split this video like maybe it's gonna be like one continuous video, but it's gonna be like first half is for people that are not quite yet at 5K per month. The second one's gonna be some stuff that you can do once you're at 5 to K, or if you just want to add an additional 5 to K, sorry, 5 to 10K per month on top of whatever you're already doing to shift things slightly and make it really easy. So the immediate next three slides are gonna be very important for if you're just getting started trying to get to 5K per month. Then after that's gonna be like really relevant if you're trying to go from 5 to like maybe 10 or 12. Cool. So let's dive into this part. So, focal point number one. So, relationships. Okay. So, it's not about having a name. It's not about having a website. It's not about having really anything, to be completely honest. It's about relationships. Okay. Everything when you're starting a business needs to be very focused on other people, not focus on yourself. Now, I hate to say this, but a lot of people when we start a business, like, generally, since we feel like we have a chip on our shoulders, no one knows us, I don't have as much experience, I don't have as many clients or anyone else. We think so focused on us. I don't have enough clients. I don't have experience. I have not been around compared to other people. There's a lot of competitors that are better than me. Me. That's everything is focused on us. Where business in its greatest form is actually an expression of you helping everyone else, right? So whether you're helping them with their actual accounting, whether you are helping teach someone, whether you are marketing to other people, whether you're doing sales for other people, it always has to be focused on the other person across the table from you. If you get good enough at doing that, you are going to be able to get whatever amount of money, whatever amount of income, whatever amount of clients that you want. Okay, so first things first is relationship. So what is a relationship, right? So a relationship is basically when two business individuals understand each other fully and they're ready to transact between a service and dollars. It just happens in our case that we have a continuous transaction of this, right? We offer the service, they give us money, or we get them to give us money, then we offer the service, right? It's usually going to be repeating that over and over again. Now, in order to build a relationship, there are really three main components: time, trust, respect. The most important is going to be time, okay? Because even if you don't have a lot of skill set or experience, the longer someone knows you, the more they're going to trust you. Now, that's the cool thing. So if we had all the time in the world, our bills are paid, and we knew what we were doing was the right activities, then we could just really just sit there for a year and we'd end up being at like six figures within 24 months. Now, I know most people watching do not want to wait for 24 months to be at six figures. Most people want to do it in three. Most people want to do it in six. Most people want to do it in 12, right? So how do we start compressing the time? We're going to talk about that in the next couple of slides. So time is number one, okay? Trust. Do they feel like you are going to be here in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years or so? Do they feel like if they were to pay you money, they'd be able to get a return, or are you just going to run off with the money? Do they feel that you actually know what you're doing? That's trust. Next thing is respect. Respect and trust are very similar. Trust is more the emotion. Respect is more of like an action that's earned, I would say. So trust is okay, if I do this, like I feel that this person is not going to rob me, right? That's trust. Respect is like this person knows exactly what they're doing. They're very highly skilled. I've seen evidence that makes me know that okay, this person is going to be able to get the job done. So trust is more about who you are as an individual and like your core. Respect is more about the actions and what you're going to do and what you're no, it's more about the actions that you are capable of. That's what I would say respect is. Cool. So we get those three things, you're gonna be really good. Okay. So let's talk about this. Okay. So in order to compress time, you can do it a couple different ways. You can you can either go and find individuals that are more predisposed to make decisions faster, or you can get good at getting regular, just existing people to buy faster. So, first things first, buying cycles. Okay, so when I say a buying cycle, some people buy in 3 days, some people buy in 3 months, some people buy in 3 years. If you can understand that time frame exists, it will make marketing and sales exponentially easier because you won't feel like things are not working. So yes, and yes, if you do sales properly, you do your marketing properly, you're going to get a lot of people to end up buying within 3 days of knowing it, or even like maybe a month or 2 months. But there are just some people where no matter what you say, they just are not going to buy from you right away. Now, you can actually like there are just some people that are just hardwired to take a million years to go, right? Oftentimes, those kind of people are not really successful business owners, right? Because in order to be a successful business owner, you have to be able to make split decisions very quickly and decide yes or no. If you cannot do that, oftentimes deals go off the table very quickly. Now, here's some people say like stuff like if a deal is only for 1 day or for 2 days, it's a bad deal or it's just not the deal for me. And that is not true at all. Sometimes, like, let's say for example, let's say that there's a new apartment complex that comes up and people have been researching it for 3 months before it came up, right? Because maybe a private insider told people that, hey, we're thinking about selling the business. The thing goes on market, things up in like anywhere between 5 to 10 days, right? And but some people who are not successful be like, oh, obviously it wasn't for me. No, it's not necessarily true, man. It could have been for you, but other people did the research ahead of time, and now they got to the opportunity a lot faster than what you did, and that's why they're like moving exponentially faster. So that's one thing. It's like you have to be able to make decisions fast when you're doing something. Now, the second thing is like in order to start getting people to move faster, you have to understand the thoughts, the energy, and the mindset of someone that is going to make decisions faster in order to get them to have all the information they need to make a decision quickly. So here's one thing. A lot of people like, especially people that like wait for a long time, oh, let me wait. I'm not ready. I don't think I can do it. They get very frustrated when they like try and do a sales consultation call and they talk to the buyer or the potential client and the business are like, oh, I need to wait. I'm not ready. I don't think that's, they're like, why are they not buying? Think about it. If you are unable to get yourself to buy something very quickly, how would you know what mentalities and mindsets and like checkpoints someone needs to check off in their mind in order to make that decision? You can't because you haven't even done it for yourself, right? So it's like you have to start learning how to radiate now energy and move through things faster. I'm not just saying just go spend money stupidly, but if there's a real decision and it's like the right decision, start pulling the trigger faster. Start really taking like an understanding and an inventory of what you're actually feeling in the moment so you can start reflecting that and making people do the same thing. That's going to start shortening your buying and sales cycles. Next thing, okay, so lead generation. So you have to be focused on growing your lead list, okay? Because here's the thing. There's a 1% rule of just marketing in general. Like generally it's online marketing. In-person networking is a little different because it's just a little different, right? But online, so let's say in person, you meet 10 people, you might get one client, right? So that's about 10% conversion rate. Someone walks into, I'll give you an even better example. Someone walks into a Walmart, 9 out of 10 people are going to buy something, right? If someone goes into an online store, like online, 1% of people are going to buy something. I remember I was telling that to an old friend probably back in 2014 when I was like really into e-commerce. And I was like, yeah, the conversion rates of an online store are like 1%. They're like, what? That's very low. It should be like 90%. I was like, because if you think about it, in person, a person has to be very serious. They have to drive all the way to Walmart. They're not going to make that drive unless they know that they want to buy something. Versus online, it's, oh, this is cool. Let me check this out. Or I don't know anything about this online website. I don't know if I want to spend money here. I don't know if I even want to go. I just got distracted because my kid just threw up on the floor. So there's a million different distractions, just things that stop you from going. It's the same thing when you're trying to convert someone. So in-person networking, you're going to get a much higher percentage close rate than if you go online. Now, the problem with the networking is sometimes in networking events, you're usually surrounded by other people that are just getting started in business. So sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you're going to get very small clients when you do in-person networking, right? So at least online, even though you need a lot more people, a lot more contacts, you can control that when the person who is on the other side says yes, you can control they're actually going to be able to pay you a relatively high amount of income. Okay, so that's number one. Now the next thing is that you need to be adding about 5 to 10 new either friends or connections per day. That means whether it's like carrier pigeon, whether it's cold email, LinkedIn, cold, I don't care what you have to do. If you're in our program, we will teach you like how to specifically do it. But if you're watching this video, whatever methodology you're already accustomed to. Like for example, I had a student just recently joined the mentorship program, and she's more accustomed to doing like she used to sell like cars. So they have a very specific way they sell. So okay, cool. So if you want to do that in the meantime when we're implementing some of this other stuff we teach in the program, you can definitely do that, right? And that's like stuff that she was thinking about doing before she joined. But it's like the methodology to actually get those new people is not super important. It's just there's a more scalable way to do it and there's a more time efficient way. If you have all the time in the world, like you can do this business like 40 hours a week or whatever, you can afford to move a little bit less efficiently, right? But if you're working a full-time job and you have a family, you don't really have that much wiggle room to make this thing work. Because here's the thing. right? You could start doing some random marketing, go to some networking events, but as soon as you start getting 1 to 3 clients, if you price them incorrectly or if they're like too needy, it's gonna be very hard to get to 10 clients doing the same kind of traveling, marketing, or cold calling stuff because you just won't have the time, right? Because you already have a full-time job and you probably have kids. So now if you have some clients, now that's three. Most people only have 3 time slots in their day. So if you fill this third time slot up with clients, it's gonna be very hard, which is actually gonna be like why we talk about after you get to 5K per month, what do you do? So, focal point number three, once you start getting leads on your lead list, you need to start turning them into audience members, okay? So, contacts lead to contracts, which lead to cash in hand, because the only difference between a contact and a contract is the letter R, which stands for relationships, right? So, we had to get the relationships. Then we had to stack relationships with the lead list. Now we have to learn how to get them to convert into wanting to work with us. Now, you do that with, there's a couple different ways. Number one is content. Okay. So when we're talking about content, there's three different types of content pillars you should be making. Now, the good thing for today is there's a lot of artificial intelligence, aka AI, that can do posts for you. Now, the reason why this is both a blessing and a curse is because most people have no background in actually writing posts, right? It's not just about being a writer. A lot of people say, I'm really good at sales because I like to talk. That's not going to make you good at sales. You're just talking a lot. Same thing with I like to write. But if you don't have the skill sets and understanding why you write certain things or why you write certain ways, you're not going to really make things move. So the problem is now with AI is that AI can give you a bunch of output, but you're not going to be able to detect if it's actually good or not unless you build the core skill sets. So we can teach you the core skill sets. We also have videos on this channel that kind of walk you through that. But number one is going to be value. So value, okay, you can just have AI write this stuff, and it's not really important if you know. If this was 3 years ago, I'd say like maybe or 2 years ago, because then it could sometimes like make a lot more mistakes. But the data's getting a lot better with it, so the value it teaches on average is more consistent. If you're having to do something like making like tax plans or tax planning type content, I would say like maybe like fact check it, right? Which is like bookkeeping stuff. It can be a little bit easier to get it to write some content. Value is just sharing different things about how people can improve their business using the service that you offer, right? So if you're offering bookkeeping, maybe you teach about like improving their cash flow. Maybe you teach about inventory management stuff. Maybe teach them about how to job cost better. Maybe teach them better like how to think about the profit margin, how to even determine the profit margin. Is there a cash flow calculator you can give them? Like just different things that can help them improve their business. Now, the key thing with the value content is that you can never give away too much information, right? Because the value is really it is we'll say like a loss leader. So value is kind of like the milk at a grocery store. You put it in the back of the grocery store, someone has to walk through the entire store and turn down every single item until the milk, and then to come all the way back, and then somehow in the store going to get them to spend more money than just the milk, right? So it's the same thing. So the value causes people to like actually connect with your brand, to see you, to like you, to understand what you do. And then all of your other stuff, like your story, your results, and other type of content we're going to talk about in a minute, are going to be the thing that gets them to pull that trigger and buy from me faster because it's really about, again, remember how we talked, let me go back 2 slides. Remember how 2 slides ago we talked about time, trust, and respect? So they're going to respect you because you're putting in a lot of good value. And then also they're spending time with you. So the longer they read your posts or they watch your videos or they hear your voice, the more that they're going to start feeling that time collapse and not get people to buy. Because if you can have someone consume 7 hours of your content, no matter whether it's 7 hours in one day, 7 hours in one year, by the time they've done about 7 hours worth of consumption, they are ready to buy the first thing that you offer them. So make sure the first thing you offer them is really good, right? Don't just do a QuickBooks setup for $285 and then be like, oh, because then when you try and upsell them on something, they need another 7 hours with you in order to be ready to buy the next thing. So you have to make sure that if they buy something, it's something really good. Okay. Next thing is going to be your story. So this is actually the most important thing. I was reviewing one of the like this person was talking about joining our program, right? We're thinking about letting him join the program. We're going back and forth right now because there's some things that he has to do, and we're kind of lining up. I was looking at his Facebook profile. I was looking at his Instagram. When I was looking at his brand, there was no pictures of him. There was nothing about who he was. It was like, okay, so there's a kind of stuff going on, but I don't know who you are. You're just a robot. Like in professional services businesses, when there's a lot of competitors or there's a lot of alternatives, you have to be able to differentiate yourself in a couple different ways. And one of the most important and easiest ways to do that is to differentiating who you are as a person because no one else can really copy that, right? People can try, AI can try, but they can't actually get the essence and the life experiences that you have because those are uniquely yours. So telling your story is very important. Next, and we actually have this thing called the attractive character story, which basically makes it easier for business owners to actually respect you and builds trust very quickly. I think I did a video about that on this YouTube channel recently too, but it's called the attractive character story. Actually, there's a video, it's a little bit of an older video on this channel where me and a mentorship student were actually going through her attractive character story. So maybe if you want to go back in time and watch that, you can definitely do that. Okay, next thing are results. These are optional but helpful, right? So just like any kind of results that you have that you've helped people do, very important to share those results. Results are optional, but they're very helpful and useful. So that's just if you do a case study of a client you helped, or maybe you talk about a story you did at your job, or maybe you have a client testimonial, a client interview, a client documentary series, just something showing you're actually doing the stuff that you are selling actively. Now, again, it doesn't have to be for millions and millions of clients. It can just be as little as like one to three. And there's different ways you can kind of display them. Like I display my testimonials. Sometimes I display them on my social media. Sometimes I display them when someone books a call with me. Sometimes I display them after someone books a call with me. And then I have a website page that pops up. Sometimes I'll actually send to people inside of Messenger, like one story, two story, three story, four story. Sometimes I'll do it in an email. So as long as you have these results, you can put them in a lot of different places. The other one to two, you can put them in a lot of different places as well, but they're easiest if you just put it on like social media just to start. Next thing is going to be consistent short conversations. So a lot of people think that when you send a message or you meet someone, they're going to buy right that moment. We already demythified that when we were talking about the buying cycles, but it's the same thing on social media. Sometimes you're only going to say one back and forth. Hey, how's your day going? Good. Or it might be, what's new with your business? Oh, we did this new project. Then you follow up, how's that project going? It's like over time, you just keep having short conversations and they like you more and more. Now they start going back to your content a lot more consistently and a lot more effectively. So it just makes things easier over time. Next thing. So now all the stuff before this was to kind of get you from zero to about 5K per month. But once you start getting a little bit of traction, it's time to start adding in the secret lever that's going to put you over the edge to get you to that six figures up. Okay. So number one is going to be following up with people. So after a consultation call, sometimes people who do not buy will disappear. They'll be like, oh, let me think about it. And then when you finally give them like a day to think about it, or give them some time to think about it, they just disappear and they never respond to you again over the next couple of days. And a lot of people, including myself in the past, have gotten very discouraged about that. So, oh my gosh, man, I lost that lead. I should do better next time. What could I improve? The one thing that successful business owners know, especially seasoned successful business owners know, is that it does not mean that the sale is over. Okay. Now you're just starting the follow-up game. Half the people that end up signing up with you are going to tell you no at some point during knowing them, right? So it's like the follow-up stage is important. Now, on average, it takes 7 hours or 11 touch points for someone to really respect you and want to buy the first thing that you have. The second thing is after someone knows what you have, they know the price, it takes 4 to 8 touch points, or a touch point just like you connecting, messaging, calling them, emailing them, just some way that they get your information or their message in front of them, right? 4 to 8 times. Most salespeople start after two. That's technically most people, most business owners stop after one. Most salespeople stop after two. Okay. So when you can start learning how to follow up, you start getting people who you knew were a great fit to work with you to come back. And the reason why that's important is because you no longer have to fear whether or not your price is too high. One reason why we can charge higher price points for the students in our mentorship program is because we know that people are going to say no anyway. So if I already know they're going to say no, I might as well swing for the fence and go for a much higher price point than what most other people are going to go for. And yes, sometimes the price points that we're charging, it's reasonable, but it's on like the edge of reasonability, where some people might even think that's an unreasonable price sometimes. But again, I know they're going to say no, so it doesn't matter. I know half the people are going to say no. I know half the people are going to say yes. If half of the people that said no come back to us, then we're going to make exponentially more revenue, and it's going to be just much better for our business, short term and long term. Okay. And that makes it where you don't have to do a million sales calls because if you can just get, let's say you get like 20 sales calls, right? And 50%, that's 10 people say yes in the beginning, right? And let's say that your minimum price point is $500 a month. That's already $5,000 from your first 10 sales consultation calls. But then remember, you did 20. So out of those remaining 10 that said no, half of them might come back. So now you're sitting at 8 to maybe 10K per month off of just those 20 sales calls. So it just makes things so much easier. And then if you only have to do 20 sales calls in your entire business career, that's amazing. Because then you just basically make cash and you can just focus on doing the stuff you enjoy, which is generally the bookkeeping and accounting. Now, next thing, so following up, okay, so this again is what takes you over the edge so you don't have any kind of additional material effort. Now, I say material effort because it does involve a little bit of effort, but it's really just texting or just responding to people. Now, there are four stages when it comes to following up with someone. Number one is going to be called ghost or value into the void. Now, I never like when people say this person ghosted me. That's a final word, right? It's not final, right? You don't know because you haven't stopped messaging. As soon as you stop talking, as soon as you stop following up, okay, now they've ghosted you. But as long as you're still trying, they are ghosting at you. They are actively ghosting you. And that can change the drop of the hat, the blink of an eye, right? So that's just sending more content, posting your social media, send them an email with content, following up, asking how their week's going, asking how their day's going, and just like figuring out like how you can get them to reply. Only thing you need is just to get them to reply, even if it's just like yes or thanks or how are you doing. Very simple. As soon as they start replying, then it's good because right, if they reply, they will buy. The second thing is going to be the objection phase. So once you have gotten them to reply, it's very easy to start talking about, okay, why do we not sign up? Why are we not getting started yet? Why are we not working together yet? And it just makes things very easy because then they're like, because of this reason. Now, when you're on your original sales call, they might have said something like, I need to think about it. But they never really gave you the true objection. Someone says they need to think about it, like in your mind, you should be thinking, what do they need to think about? Which element of the deal do they need to be thinking of? So ask them like, what do you need to think about? That's not really a good phrase. It's more of an accusatory phrase, correct? So instead, you should be thinking like, what elements of the deal are most important to you that you're going to be focusing on and thinking about? Let me write that down. What elements of the deal. If I'm writing down, you should probably write down as well. What elements of the deal are you most focused on and considering? So the reason why it's important is because if you're on your sales call, if someone just says think about it, you don't know what they're actually thinking about, a lot of people what they do is they try and like just spout out random facts about bookkeeper. Oh, well, you need a bookkeeper because of this, or oh, you do this, or it's if it's the price, we can always lower the price. Don't just start shooting off random things. Okay, you have to understand what is the actual problem or objection they're facing. Then you can start solving that. So inside of text message after the sales call, it's generally a little bit easier because they're not in as strong of a defensive state. Sometimes when someone says no to you, they go into like defense mode. Oh, I don't want to explain myself, or I shouldn't have to explain myself, or I don't know, and they get like really defensive. But if it's like now, a couple weeks later, a couple days later, a couple months later, when you ask the real objection, they're like, "Oh, I just don't have the budget," or "It's not that important to me," or "I was going on vacation," or "I had to speak to my partner." There's millions of objections they can give you, right? Now, we do teach objection handling in our program, right? We can help you simplify it a lot easier, but it does take a lot of practice to kind of get to this. After you get the objection, now you guys can start negotiating. Now, negotiating does not mean you have to lower your price. Let's say they don't have the time for, okay, you can negotiate like how much time needs to be spent on their part for the onboarding. You could, let's say that they don't have the cash flow. You could offer a payment plan for a cleanup project. Let's say they need to go talk to their partner. You can schedule a call with them and their partner to answer any questions the partner has. Maybe they have to go speak to their board because they're a nonprofit. Maybe you can see if you can go speak at their board meeting to advocate for yourself. So a lot of different ways you can kind of negotiate. Just problem solve the thing the objections they just faced. After that, if you've done that successfully, now you're going to be doing in the cash/collection phase. This is when they send you payment. This is when they're like, oh, I'm so excited. This is when they've actually signed the contract, and now you guys are working together. So you can understand this phase of following up. That just makes you exponentially better. Cool. Next thing. Yeah. And hey, if you ever want some help getting this implemented inside your business, you just want someone to walk you through, hey, say this is how you objection handle, this is how you negotiate, this is what content you should make, this is how you actually go and structure your pricing. If you just want someone that can hold you by the hand, walking hand in hand all the way to your goals, go ahead and click the link inside the description above or below the video. Let's book a call with this with me to see if I can help you inside our mentorship program. Now, again, if you want freedom and you want to be able to really have the life that you want, I know right now, talk about groceries are getting more expensive. They talk about the economy is not doing very well. But if you want to be outside of that and you don't want to have to worry about money or just think about money at all, click the link inside the description above or below the video. Let's book a call with myself. Let's see if I can help you in our mentorship program, right? That's what our goal is. Our goal is to make sure you never have to think about money again so you can really get back to living life and do the stuff you enjoy, okay? And spending time with people you love. So have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you. I'll see you on the call if that's you. If not, I'll see you inside the next video. Take it easy. Bye bye.